Hello, Maxwell Lord here. Make a wish and I guarantee you it will come true. I will be on the other end of it. I mean, I get something in return, but you know what? You shall reap all the profits and you will get your one wish. Everybody has a wish. Why not do yours? Hello, today we're going to be talking about / reviewing Wonder Woman 1984. I actually got to see this in a theater. There's a theater nearby me that's actually still open. I know it's on HBO Max as well, but I decided, we'll see it in the theaters, and I'm actually pretty glad I did. But anyway, without further ado, shall we begin? So there will be spoilers throughout this review, but I will warn you when there will be like a major spoiler and all that. But anyway, I gotta say the first thing that comes to mind was thinking about this movie is that it's bonkers, but I mean that in the best way possible. Like, it is completely over the top. Everything about this movie is over the top, and I think that actually works to its one of its pros. I think that's actually, it's very well done. It's very fun, and it knows exactly what it wants to be. Because Patty Jenkins, the director of this, she also directed the first Wonder Woman, she said herself that she wanted this to be over the top. She wanted it to feel like an 80s movie from beginning to end, from a certain part of it all the way over to the other part. It needs to feel like an 80s movie. I completely agree that it feels like an 80s movie, but the music in this by Hans Zimmer, I gotta say, is some of his best work. He's also done other ones too. Like, he does a lot of superhero movies, even though like a couple of years ago he said he was gonna retire from superhero movies, but you know what? He's still doing them anyway. But I gotta say, like, the score in this it's awesome. Like the Cheetah score, Already Gone score, which I will get into that later on, but there's going to be spoilers, so I won't talk about it immediately right now. But there's so much good stuff within the score alone, and the part where, minor spoiler alert, you might consider it a big spoiler, I don't know, but I consider it a minor one. When we see her flying, like, the score to that alone is amazing. And then, if there was one specific scene, too, where, spoiler alert, Max Lord is in his, the hologram thing, like, projecting to every screen in the world, and he's like, wish, granted, and Wonder Woman is actually attached to his leg using her lasso, and she's actually talking to the public, and we find out, like, there's a public that she's talking to, and then she looks right at the camera, and she's like, I'm talking to all of you. But the thing that I thought was really cool in it, the score of that part is actually A Beautiful Lie, which was actually used in Batman vs. Superman for the opening sequence when we saw Martha and Thomas Wayne get murdered. So I thought that was a super, super cool touch, and Kristen Wiig, I believe her name is, that plays Barbara Minerva, also Cheetah. I thought they gave her a great, story, starting off good, and then slowly descended into it because she wanted to be more like Diana, but she didn't know. Okay, first gotta talk about the stone. The stone is from an ancient god and all that. I can't remember the god's name off the top of my head, but the ancient god pretty much gives it, like, that power to, you make that one wish, but it's like, minor spoiler alert. It could be a big spoiler alert. It's like a monkey's paw. Like, you have something good, but eventually ends up turning on you. But Max Lord wants it because we find out later on in the movie, that he's actually, he has lost so much money. He's been trying to build himself up, his Black Gold enterprise and all that, but he's just been failing so much of this. And back to Cheetah anyway, she wishes, because she's kind of, she was a nerdy one, she wasn't really liked, she was just kind of in the corner type of person, just a shadow, nobody really paid attention to her. And then, there was an incident where she was, a guy almost kind of had his way with her, but Diana ended up saving her, and that's when she kind of wished, I wish I was more like Diana, but she did not know that Diana was actually Wonder Woman at the time, so that was actually really, interesting, and she started getting powers, and then she grew stronger, and eventually she was like, you know what, I don't wish to be Diana anymore, because I don't want to be just like her, I wish I was an apex predator, and that's when she truly becomes a full Cheetah form, and I thought they pulled off the form pretty well. It could have went in the way of Cats, like that movie, which was a disaster in its own, but they decided to keep it very, I thought it looked pretty well. They kept it realistic, as realistic as you could actually go with that, And Max Lord, which is the other villain of this, played by Pedro Pascal, which you will probably know from The Mandalorian. He plays Mando, and I gotta say, every part that he's in this movie, I think, like, he just absolutely does great in it. He's one of my absolute favorite characters in this movie, because you can tell he's just having the time of his life doing this role. Because he puts on a Nicolas Cage performance. That's pretty much what he does. It's so over the top, and it's just so much fun with how he's doing it. And I gotta say, I know there's a version of Max Lord as well in season 1 of Supergirl, and I completely love that version. I think that version was extremely well done, but I gotta say Pedro Pascal's version of Max Lord is probably my favorite. I just absolutely loved how he did it, and I gotta say, every scene he was in, like I said, he just carried the movie within his scenes, especially the parts, minor spoiler, where, okay, major spoiler, he decided his wish was to become the stone, but he got something in return, and everything started going crazy because he just started granting wishes everywhere. Everyone got a wish, you 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 got a wish, and everybody just, the wishes just started caving in on itself, and it went horrible, and then he got in touch with the president, and he's like, what do you want, Mr. President? And the president's like, well, I want war, and then it went nuts, like, missiles started flying in the air, and Hans Zimmer's going nuts on his music. It was a really, really fun movie, and, they even give some good depth to him as a character as well, Pedro Pascal's Maxwell Lord. Because he eventually, at the end, he realizes what is important to him. Like, it's not, like, building his billion-dollar enterprise and all that. And a fun little thing, too, Simon Stagg as a character, he has a very small role in this as well. And if you watch Flash, you probably know him from that, too, as a character, because he was in the first season of Flash, played by, I can't think of his name, but he plays Death in the Bill and Ted's, and then he also played the President in Iron Man 3. But that was cool that he was in that as well. And then, the big final battle, it was really well done. It was over the top in the best way possible. And the way that they brought Steve Trevor back, this is major spoilers right now. How they actually brought him back was that Diana made her wish to have him back, and then he actually inhabited another guy's body. Like, everybody saw that specific guy, but Diana alone saw Steve Trevor. And that one scene where, like, because she was actually losing her power, because, like, it's like the monkey's paw takes something from you, so it's taking her power, but she got her boyfriend back, and Steve Trevor was like, you know, like, this is amazing, you brought me back, but you gotta go and do your stuff, Diana. Like, I'm not really here, I'm not supposed to be here, like, I'm already gone. And then that was one of the lines actually used in the movie, and she was like, I'm never gonna love again, and he's like, of course you will, like, just eventually you will love again. And I thought that scene was so well done. That was one of my absolute favorite scenes in the movie. It was just like, it was probably the big tearjerker of the movie, and it was just, I absolutely loved that scene. And then the first, like, 15 minutes was probably the prologue, where we saw the Amazon's Olympics and all that, so that was pretty cool as well. And then Hans Zimmer's going nuts on that scene as well. But going into this, know that it's not going to be exactly like the first one. The first one was like a serious, it had some comedy, but it took itself more serious. This one does not take itself serious, and I think besides a couple scenes, and I think that truly is its benefit. It uses it, and I think it uses it extremely well. And if you go into it knowing that, I feel like you're going to have a really good time. I personally would probably give it an 8.5 out of 10. I absolutely just enjoyed it. It's one of the longer DCEU movies. It's about just a tiny bit over 2.5 hours. I want to say it's like 2 hours and 32 minutes. But anyway, that was my review of Wonder Woman 1984. If you saw it, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. Thanks for watching as always, and I will see all of you in the next video. Bye!